Hello, my name is Mike Jones. I'm in a death metal band called Utter Scorn out of California, United States of America. What's the story or significance behind the band name Utter Scorn? So I started this band about 12 years ago, and originally I wanted to call it Sewer Dweller, but over the years as I kept working on this project, I kind of grew out of that name. And also, there became a band called Sewer Dwellers that became established, so I thought that I should probably just drop that name and think of something else. So then I just spent one afternoon just trying to think of cool band names, and I always kind of like that word scorn. I thought it had just a cool sound to it phonetically, and I also just like the meaning behind it, and I thought that would be cool for a death metal band. So that was around 2018, and I was planning on just calling the band Scorn. But when I went to Google and see if there was already a band by that name, I came across this computer game that was in development and by that name, and it was this really cool looking game with this sci-fi horror plot to it. And the thing is, the full length that I was writing for this band at the time, it also had a sci-fi horror narrative. So basically I just thought that it would have been too close conceptually with that computer game, and we would have been kind of stepping on each other's toes when people are looking up either my band or that game or whatever. So I decided to just call it Utter Scorn instead, and that was that. Can you share some insights into the creative process behind Paroxysmal Endemia? Yeah, so like I said, I started this band about 12 years ago, and I had kind of 5 or 6 demo songs that I guess you would say are called the nascent sound of Utter Scorn. Not super great songs. I still have them if anyone's interested in listening to them. But that was kind of just the beginning stages of this band. And actually the song Hypovolemic Convulsions was one of the songs from that first batch of songs that made it onto the full length. The other songs that just kind of didn't really stick. So Hypovolemic Convulsions, that was the first song that I had for Paroxysmal Endemia, and just kind of working on it gradually over the years, I came up with just the stems of the other songs. So I started the band in 2011, and in 2018 I decided to sit down and say, okay, I want to write and record a full length and actually do something with this band. So I had the beginning riffs of Cult of Scorn and Invoke the Ophidians and Paranoia and a couple other ones, and but not really any fully written songs besides Hypovolemic Convulsions. So I decided to just sit down and flesh those out. So then I had about 4 or 5 songs, and then I decided I need a beginner and ender. I didn't have anything, and so I remember I went on a date with a girl one time around 2000. This is in 2018, and it didn't go super well. And I remember waking up the next day and feeling forlorn because of the night I had, and for whatever reason, the melody to Vivisectionist came into my head. I don't know why, but I guess for whatever reason that's just the memory I attached to that song. Just the na 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 na, and then I turned it into a slam thing. But for whatever reason, I guess that's just the emotion that I associate with that song. So, but it turned into a cool album beginner, I thought. And then I think Gutter Skulker was I guess the last song I written, and I made that with the intention of being the ender song. I think I wanted to have at least 9 songs, I think. So that, including the little album intro thing I made it 10. Now, the process of actually recording everything was very painstaking. It took forever. It was a 3-year process from 2018 to 2021 when I finally was able to release the album. I did everything by myself. I programmed the drums, recorded bass, guitar, vocals, mixed it, and really the guitar solos was the most difficult part, because I was writing stuff that was beyond my capability at the time. And I remember I was waking up at like 4 a.m. every day, so I would have at least 4 or 5 hours to play guitar before work, and just running scales at ad nauseum, just repeating and repeating and repeating, and making myself go insane just to try and get up to speed for where I wanted the guitar solos to be. And yeah, the vocals were a pain in the ass too, and it was just, you know, like any artist who has done something similar to what I've done, it was just such an uphill battle, such an arduous like undertaking, with just so many roadblocks and obstacles and U-turns and just things going wrong and setbacks, and yeah, it was an absolutely painful experience, but that's what made it worth it, you know, gave it meaning. But anyways, what themes and emotions did you explore in this release? Well, like I was saying, it's a sci-fi horror concept album. It is a narrative that takes place on a fictional planet that I created, and the themes and emotions I explore are anything that you would imagine going on in an environment like that. So, you know, just ultimate fear and paranoia and psychosis and hostility and the occult, the supernatural, advanced alien weaponry being used against other advanced aliens, and all that type of shit. The full story is on my website, utterscorn.com. It's a lot, and it's too much for me to explain right now, but it is a sci-fi horror story. Could you give us some background on the album cover art and how it connects to the music? So I had the album complete, and I was looking, I needed artwork, I needed the album art, and so I was looking at various artists on Instagram, and I came across Triple Sace Design. Shout out to Mark, Triple Sace Design. He would have pieces for sale on his Instagram page, and I just came across one day that I really liked, and I asked if it was for sale. He said it wasn't, but he could make one for me. And so I went ahead and commissioned some art with him, and the artist, his name was Santiago Jaramillo Francisco. Shout out to him, amazing artist. He's done art for like crazy bands like Origin, Behemoth, Dark Funeral. Their company has done art for all those bands, so it was an honor to be able to work with them. Now, as far as the actual album art, I didn't see it. I didn't get to see it really in the making, or until it was done, and I couldn't tell you what it is. I don't know what it is. We'll say that it's just some kind of pyramid that exists on this fictional planet that I created. I don't know. It's just a cool spiky looking thing. It's nothing that really had much to do with the music, because like I said, I saw it after the music was created, and I was sick of waiting to release the album, so I just went with it. But I like it a lot. Thank you Mark and Santiago. How has your cooperation with Pathologically Explicit Recordings been, and how did it influence the album's production? I've never been signed to that label. I don't know where Encyclopedia Metallum got that information. I think it was some kind of confusion with another band of a similar name or something, but I've never been signed to them or worked with them. But I wouldn't mind. They're a sick label, so if they're watching this, then reach out and let's work together. But I've never worked with them before. In your opinion, is having a label deal crucial in today's music industry? Yeah, I think so. Because anyone that really does anything significant in any genre of music is usually signed to a label. So, I mean, just think of any band that you listen to, most of them are signed. So, you know, you can go pretty far by yourself with the tools that are available today. But, I mean, not further than a label would take you with their connections and just their, you know, tools that they can provide for you. So I think it is crucial. When did you first start listening to death metal, and what led you to discover and become a fan of the genre? I started listening to death metal when I was like 13 or 14. It all started with System of a Down when I was like 9 or 10 years old. I must have been 10 years old. That's when Toxicity came out. And I always say System of a Down was the gateway drug. If you could change one thing about the music industry, what would it be? That's a good question. I think what I would change about the music industry is what I would change about life in general. And that is that I wish it was what you know instead of who you know. I wish that people were rewarded based on their talent and hard work and not because they won some kind of popularity contest. I feel like a lot of artists don't get the recognition they deserve because they were not as good at networking or brown nosing than other people, just didn't happen to be what the cool thing of the day is, and that sucks. So I think that's what I would change. Have you encountered any memorable epic fails during live performances? So we've only played 2 shows, and we've had technical difficulties at both of them. I bring a laptop on stage so we can have audio clips in between songs during the set, and also it feeds a click track to our ears. It's cut out in the first set. Excuse me. The laptop crashed, and so it didn't play the last sound clip that I wanted it to during the set, and also it cut out our in-ears, so we had to kind of just play it the old-fashioned way the rest of the set on the fly. The second show, also that first show, I like stepped on my guitar cord and pulled it out, and so I had to fuck around with it in the middle of the set trying to get it back in. I've been doing this shit way too long to have made that mistake. That was just poor judgment on my part. The second show, something happened where the technology crashed again, and so we had to play like half the set again without the click tracks and stuff. So we haven't had a show go completely right yet, but we'll fucking get there, I swear. Are there any recent music or movies that have deeply impressed you? Yeah, so the new Cattle Decapitation record I really liked a lot. I think could be the best stuff that they've ever put out. Really great songwriting on that album, and just very good artistic, well executed artistic vision on that one. Also, there's this band called Infertile Surrogacy. They're like a slamming brutal death metal band from Congo, like middle of Africa, that's really sick. I think they only have an EP that they put out a while ago, and they have an EP and they put out a full length, I think, this year. That's really badass. And I just discovered them. I forgot how, but they're really sick. And also Peeling Flesh, I like a lot. They're a lot of fun. Yeah, other than that, I haven't really found much. But yeah, that Cattle Decapitation record, I might vote for that one as Album of the Year. What are your thoughts on the future of death metal as a genre? So, I think that for the past like 13 or 14 years, slam has really had a heyday. But I think the future is going to be brutal death metal. All of the Gen Z kids I talk to at shows lately, they're really hyped on brutal death metal, like stuff like Disgorge and Defeated Sanity and Putridity and Condemned and stuff like that. So I think that is going to be that's going to reign supreme for the next decade of this kind of music, and that will be the new proverbial pissing contest of heaviness. And I think that's really exciting. I'm really stoked to see what the future holds for this kind of music. But yeah, I think that's what the next 10 years is going to look like, brutal death metal. Can you describe the current death metal scene in California? The scene here is great. It's very healthy, and it's thriving. From the Bay Area and further north to my area, which is like the Central Coast, to LA and San Diego. There's lots of really cool bands and lots of really sick shows happening pretty much every week. And all the shows I've been to in these various cities, kids are coming out and they're hyped, and it's an exciting time. The scene's thriving, so it's really cool. Scene out here in California is great. What's your top favorite death metal album of all time and why? Fuck. That's like impossible, dude. There's so many that come to mind, but to give you an answer, I'm gonna go with I'll go with Effigy of the Forgotten by Suffocation. I feel like that album really like set a precedent for the genre, and all the albums, all the music that came after it was so heavily influenced by that album and that band. And just for the year it came out, it just was like, it was so ahead of its time, and so many great songs, and yeah, it completely changed the game. And I think everyone can agree that a little bit of their influence is in pretty much every facet of death metal to this day. It still holds up to this day, that album. What plans do you have for the future of Utter Scorn? So it's August of 2023 right now. We have one more show scheduled for this year that has not been announced yet, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I would really like to get to work on a new full length. It's been a while since I've released any music with this band, and it's definitely time to get going on that. It would be pretty ambitious of me to say that I could pull it off, a full-length release next year. I would like to at least get most of one written and recorded. If it starts taking too long, maybe it'll just become an EP or something, but that's my goal at this point. I would like to get out a new full length by next year, or early 2025 if need be. And then other than that, I think I would like to do a little tour next summer if we can. I'm thinking maybe to the middle of the United States and back. I think that's doable, so I might get that going next year as well. So look out for that. All those things. Any messages for death metal promotion channel subscribers? Keep supporting death metal. If you've if you checked out my band or supported me in any way, I really appreciate you. And if you haven't, then please do. Please buy my album. And fuck yeah, that's it.